What's up, everybody? Brett here, back today playing some more Total War Warhammer 2 quick battles. It's gonna be me playing the Warriors of Chaos versus Slaanesh Marauder S playing as the Lizardman. I love this guy's build. I don't know what the meta is for Lizardman versus Chaos right now, but I do know that solar engines have kind of made it back in place, sort of the old / new hotness. But let's go ahead and slow it down a little bit. We're in a nice open field map. It's gonna let me see everything the Lizardmen are doing. No shenanigans are to be had. But guys, I make two mistakes this battle. Two mistakes. The first one is I got a little lazy. I didn't really scout my opponent's army the way I should have when I originally engaged. I saw the solar engines. I saw, man, the Thunderous one. Look at this model. I love this freaking model. I wish it was a little more cost effective, but its ability, which for those of you who don't know, is Judgment of Ukhmak. Drops lightning all around itself whenever it's engaged in melee. It's pretty sick. It's an incredibly powerful unit. I scouted the big stuff. I scouted the Slann Mage Priest, high magic guy. Pretty much has all its abilities. Banishment was the main thing that I was the most concerned about, and Apotheosis for relevant healing. What I did not scout were the potential danger of running into skink cohorts with javelins. And the second mistake I made was just generally underestimating my opponent a little bit. So I was kind of not paying as great of attention as I normally would, and I almost paid the price for it. I realized my opponent's skill very quickly and adjusted accordingly. But before that, I was not giving him the respect that I should have. I've been trying to record a lot of videos recently, and a lot of times I just end up running up against newer players on the ladder, and sometimes that makes for good games and sometimes that doesn't. So I just was kind of in that mindset, and I shouldn't have been. So my build is going to be pretty heavy metal with Sigvald leading the charge. Cheap Lord, extremely durable. He has, of course, his auric armor, which gives him 8 hit points a second, making him usually the last man standing on any battlefield, as well as standard die, which I think is just a great kind of auto-include. And he has perfect vigor, so he never gets tired. Insane. He's such a good lord. I think he's 1440, something like that, with that particular build set. I've also got my Chaos Sorcerer Death on foot. Being on foot is not a big hindrance here because most of my army is on foot, so they'll all arrive at the same time. I don't need to be doing any funny business with my Chaos Sorcerer. So having a horse is a little bit of a detriment. Don't need to spend that cash. Spirit Leech and then Soul Blight here. I want to make sure I'm winning the frontline engagements, lowering armor, basically taking most Lizardman units down to near 0 armor. Skinks go down to 0. Saurus Warriors go down to 30, which might as well be 0 armor, which against my basic Chosen, who are not armor piercing, is going to be a nice combo. These guys are armored and shielded. They hit like absolute trucks, but they really are kind of hindered by that armor that even the Saurus have. But with a nice Soul Blight, it's not as bad. And then, of course, if you're playing Sigvald, in my mind, it's absolute blasphemy to the god of Slaanesh not to bring his Mirror Guard, who are, in and of themselves, great units and do really well in this matchup. Having, of course, silver shields, great armor, great combat stats. Love those guys. And whenever you're fighting against the dinos, you got to have some anti-large, you got to have some armor piercing. And that's what the Chaos Warrior with halberds are for. And they're going to be great for that. Once again, another for me, kind of a great like can opener unit. And here the solar engines are going to take their toll. They're going to take it no matter what. My idea for running in originally was to bring in my Marauder Horsemen nice and close to get them out front ahead of my units here and let them take the solar engine shots over the solar engine hitting my Mirror Guard, my much more expensive Chosen. Every model of Chosen is worth so much. Every model of my Marauder Horsemen is worth very, very little. Out on the flanks, I've got 2 groups of Chaos Warhounds with poison, and then I also have an Exalted Hero completely stripped down, but also mounted, and he's going to be riding alongside the Chaos Knights here. And these are the basic Chaos Knights. They're anti-infantry, and yeah, they're just heavily armored, fast. I want to get them in the backfield, and they were mostly here in case there was other cav that I needed to counter, or there might have been lots of chameleon skinks perhaps out on the flanks that I could have chased down with the Chaos Warhounds and then punished with the Chaos Knights. They're here mostly to deal with kiting skinks. But let's... Yeah, this is my first mistake, guys. First mistake. My opponent did a great job of like leaving units out for bait and then pulling back through his own units and retreating to safety. So is there anything else I haven't gone over? One last thing that I wanted to talk about were these guys, the Star Chamber Guardians. Unfortunately, when I zoom out enough, I can't see their magical weapon attack effects. But these guys are insane looking. I freaking love it. And they, of course, have the Guardian ability, so 50% physical resistance, as well as expert charge defense. And, yeah, just look at that stat line. Magical damage. Incredible. All right. And then backed up just with a bunch of Saurus Warriors. So the Javelins give my Marauder Horsemen the dirty business. I pull them out like just in time to keep them from being catastrophically destroyed. But once again, all I'm really doing is buying time for my extremely slow and plodding Chaos army to make it into play. I've got some Chaos Marauders. I like to bring one group shielded, put them out front. They cost 350 gold. It's basically nothing. And if my opponents lax on their micro at all, and I catch a group of Saurus Warriors here and sandwich them, and an unfortunate soul quench for my opponent, because it probably kills more of his units than mine. Solar Engine's just doing so much work. If my opponent's micro is poor, they'll just waste all of their shots into my Chaos Marauders. And, you know, it's not really a waste most of the time when the shots land. But the Skink cohorts do not want to be using their Javelins here. They want to be using it somewhere else. My Marauder Horsemen are going to rout, but they're going to come back and still be mostly combat effective. Meanwhile, I'm skirting around with the Chaos Warhounds, trying to see what I can do. My Chaos Knights are pulling out. I've decided to keep my Exalted Hero on this Thunderous one, at least for a second, to keep it engaged with something so that it wouldn't be running rampant in the front line. The Mirror Guard have engaged. Let's go ahead and slow-mo this. We can also K-mode it for a second as we watch the Saurus battle it out with the Mirror Guard. God, I love their models. Hell yeah. Look a big Steven charging in. Getting a rear charge on my Exalted Hero, but Exalted Heroes are very tanky. And all across the line, and I like this too, I was about to say, all across the line, everyone has been kind of saturated in. My Chosen are going to beat the unholy heck out of these poor skink boys. But I love that the Chaos Marauders, Sigvolt, and the Mirror Guard are all standing shoulder to shoulder in this formation. And that means, even though they're all slightly hurt, that they're not taking big damage individually. No one's getting like 1v1 wrecked. Meanwhile, the Chosen are just absolutely going to bully their way through. Nothing is going to stop them. That Banishment is going to bounce harmlessly into the rear. Good shot there on my Chaos Warriors with Halberds. No, and it's coming back, but it's tearing up Marauders mostly. No, it gets the Mirror Guard too. That ended up being a pretty good Banishment. Ended up being a godly Banishment, actually. Just a complete luck Banishment. But he cast it in the perfect spot. I mean, that's where you cast it. So what I'm trying to do here is get onto the Slann Mage. He is currently sitting in a pretty strong little pocket. I'm charging in with my Chaos Knights where applicable. I do not want them charged into the Star Chamber Guardians, obviously. They're out on the flanks. They're exposed. If I can, my Marauder Horsemen will shoot into their rear. They've got 85 armor as well as shield, so I definitely don't want to be wasting my time shooting them from the front. But it's honestly kind of like a matter of time. I'm pushing. My Chosen are going to break through eventually. The Saurus Warriors cannot hold them. And there goes the Thunderous one. I'm Spirit Leeching it instead of Spirit Leeching the Mage Priest. I can kill the Mage Priest pretty much at will, and my boy is on him now, Sigvald. My opponent has no answer to Sigvald. Sigvald is just going to get over here and just start smacking him. He's got 70 melee attack, and the Slann Mage Priest only has 45 armor. Even though, you know, Prince Sigvald isn't the best armor piercer, as a duelist against a lightly armored opponent, he's pretty incredible. Now, I did get my halberds on correct targets for most of the battle, but eventually this kind of core here is just going to be a bit too much. They've got a lot of HP. We're attempting to hold them down, but it's really the Chosen. The Chosen are going to be the MVPs here as they just inexorably push forward. And I'm using some of my units, the Chaos Knights, the Warhounds, to chase off a lot of these skink cohorts and Saurus. Take them off the battlefield. And the Thunderous one has no choice but to come over here and try and bully Prince Sigvald into, like, losing his ability to assault the Slann Mage Priest. Star Chamber Guardian, I mean, he would probably be better off if he just went and stood right here. But he's going to run it and pull out from the side, and we'll see what I can do with that. The Marauder Horsemen are all back, and they're all shooting. And that kind of Gatling gun from the top of the Thunderous one is going pretty hard. But Prince Sigvald is just going to chase this Slann Mage Priest down. He's also pretty fast. He's being slowed right now due to poison, but even still at 31 speed. The Chaos Warriors with halberds are coming back in. I've got some on the side here. I think I'm going to eventually pull both of these into this pit fight, kind of recognizing that the pit fight perhaps is the most important part of this combat right now. And the Thunderous one is incredible in a pit fight. That Banishment's going to whiff. But it's incredible in a pit fight just because of its lightning attack. Soul Blight going off, lowering everything's armor. Going to make my units who aren't armor piercing do a lot more damage. And at that point, my opponent, I think, recognizes the writing on the wall. I've got Chaos Knights coming in. They're headed, I think, straight for the Slann Mage Priest. Nothing is going to stop them. They're way too fast for what's left on the battlefield. I've got my halberds coming back in to help me deal with all of these large units. I wish my opponent had played it out a bit more, because the Star Chamber Guardians were going to be quite the force to try and take down in the late game. But I think Sigvald, with his regen, can just sit there and just pick them off one by one by one. And I don't know if they have the DPS to bring him down like that. 5,755 damage value on him. My Chaos Sorcerer was casting Spirit Leeches all game. I think I got off 2 good Soul Blights as well. One in the front line in the beginning of the engagement, and then one there at the end when we were having that bit of a pit fight. And then, you know, Exalted Hero, not that expensive, man. Even on a mount, he's still only like 750 gold, something like that. So he just needed to get a little bit more value to really earn his value. Yeah, even the Marauders, look at these guys. They did tons of damage after taking all those shots for us. Unfortunately, these halberds, I believe, were fighting skinks, but they were still in great shape near the end of the battle. These halberds pay for themselves. Mirror Guard took a lot of damage. We kind of, you know, leaving them in the center was rough. But at the end of the day, the story would have been, can you deal with what's left of my knights and what's left of my chosen? And I don't know if my opponent really had what was needed to do that. And I was just using the Chaos Warhounds to chase off. And then Sigvald. All these guys are just a comfy pillow protecting Sigvald until the very end, where almost nothing can take him down. If you can't get him to his healing cap, you got a problem. But yeah, good play from my opponent. Really good use of the Slann Mage Priest. I thought, man, that Banishment was pretty gnarly. I mean, it wrecked my Mirror Guard. But it's, you know, it's a high risk, high reward spell, and he got a lot of reward the first time, and he got no reward the second time. So it kind of evened out if you think about it like that. The Soras got beaten to heck. Normally they'll trade pretty dang well if I just go Chaos Warriors or Marauders. But if I step it up to Chosen, they really don't have a chance. The Star Chamber Guardians would have been amazing had I gone for, you know, like some Shaggoths or Kolek or something like that. They would have done a great job protecting the Slann. But against a Footlord like Prince Sigvald, they were going to have a difficult time. And I actually love the Skate Cohorts with Javelins. They're one of my favorite units in the entire Lizardman roster, oddly enough. And the Solar Engines are very much on meta. And even the Thunderous one, who was still quite healthy at the end. I think he was getting Apotheosis throughout the battle in order to counter my Spirit Leeches, which is fine. I'm more than willing to trade magic for magic like that. My Magic Caster is very cheap. My opponent's Magic Caster is his Lord and very expensive. He had like every ability under the sun on him. So it felt like a fair trade to me. But how fitting is it that I play as Sigvald up against the Slaanesh Marauder? And if you look at it, Slann, there's some like, if you ever see It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, there's that famous like scene where I think it's Charlie. He's like standing next to the wall with all of the red string tied to all the different conspiracy theories, and it makes like a web pointing to one spot. Slaanesh, Slann, Sigvald. Alright, you guys know what I'm saying. But that's it for me today, y'all. My name is Brett. Channel's Goodtalk Gaming. Some good official channel news. Oh man, I don't get to say this type of stuff very often. Just before I go, I finally got an email back from CA saying that they have decided to officially reinstate me as someone who gets early access, and yeah, So I look forward to that. I mean, I had it before, and it was pretty exciting, but I have it again, and we'll see what that entails. Maybe I get an early press build for the upcoming DLC, hopefully for Total War Warhammer 3, and yeah, I can bring you guys quality videos ahead of time, just like the rest of the more, you know, greater in sized YouTube channels. And I can be a little bit competitive with them. I'm only 8 subscribers away from 1,000 subscribers, which has been my goal since the very beginning, to get 1,000 subscribers. If you don't know, in YouTube, when you hit 1,000 subscribers, that is how your channel gets the beginning of being monetized, which of course is not a lot of money. When you got 1,000 subscribers and, you know, 30 views on each video, you're not making any real money. It's just cool because it's sort of like a validation of the hard work. And sometimes YouTube is extremely fun, and sometimes it has the feeling of actual work. But playing Total War has never worked. I enjoy it. And like I said, y'all, that's it for me. Take care.